All right, Steph, good morning to you. Ontario's reopening plan could begin sooner than expected.
We may be able to move into stage 1 several days earlier than June 14th.
Okay, and that from the health minister. Although vaccinations are ramping up and cases are dropping, the plan would move ahead just a few days early, not a full week. Phase 1 begins with more options for patio dining, non-essential stores reopening to in-person shopping with conditions. In yesterday's last session at Queen's Park before the summer break, the NDP continued to throw jabs at the Premier for his absence from the legislature. Ford, though, firing back, defending his decision to keep schools closed.
The leader of the opposition doesn't worry about the kids. She worries about politics. Sitting in the bleachers, throwing sniper shots.
Now, the Premier says the variant first detected in India, now called the Delta variant, is the reason classrooms will remain closed for the school year, saying it puts children at risk. Experts say the Delta variant is more transmissible, but it's unclear if it's more fatal or how children might be impacted by the strain.
The United Kingdom's a really good place to watch because it's there, it's expanding, it's being transmitted primarily among unvaccinated populations and in communities where vaccination rates are lower. We do have some early data from the United Kingdom that demonstrates that the vaccines are still effective, but it's pretty clear that 2 doses of a vaccine are far more protective than 1 dose of a vaccine.
And this comes as the province announced new protocol for the AstraZeneca vaccine. So starting today, second dose appointments open for those who got the AstraZeneca shot 12 weeks ago with the option to choose AstraZeneca or get an mRNA vaccine like Pfizer or Moderna. Now, who you just heard from, Dr. Isaac Bogosh, who is on the province's vaccine rollout task force. He will be joining us live just after 7 o'clock this morning. We're going to break down the pros and cons of each shot because, indeed, there are still so many questions when it comes to AZ and next steps. So stay tuned for that. Well, after 2 years, the federal government laying out its plan to address a national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
Our pathway is a holistic approach to ending this national tragedy. And to implement it, we'll invest an additional $2.2 billion starting this year.
The plan looks to improve and invest in data collection and creating a national task force investigating missing persons reports. But advocates say the strategy falls short.
We think that it's not a plan. It doesn't have the action that's needed. There need to be clear timelines for them and measurable goals. We don't see that in the government's pathways document.
We are now at the point of needing that phase 2, the call to action to what are the actual implementable steps.
Meantime, a bill was unanimously passed in the Senate to create a statutory holiday marking the devastating legacy of residential schools in Canada. September 30th will now be known as the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. The CN Tower lit orange last night as memorials and tributes continue right across the country following last week's discovery of hundreds of Indigenous children whose remains discovered at a former BC residential school. Flags across the country remain at half-mast until June the 8th. I want to bring you to a live look right now outside Ryerson University. Indigenous professors have called on the school to change its name and remove that, which you see there, the statue of Egerton Ryerson. Prime Minister Trudeau will have a virtual meeting with staff and students this afternoon, and that is happening at 4 o'clock. All right, I want to bring this right back to your attention here. An Amber Alert that we have been following issued by Ottawa Police. Please pay close attention to this. It's for an 11-month-old baby. This child, Abby Mathusi, is described as Indigenous with short black hair and a feeding tube attached to her nose. Last seen wearing a navy blue Montreal Canadiens onesie, and police believe she may be with her grandmother, a 70-year-old woman named Miriam. She is described as 5'6", around 130 pounds, with gray hair, wearing a light winter coat. She was last seen in Ottawa with her mother yesterday. The area, Carling Avenue and Pinecrest Road, which is near Highway 417 and Highway 416. Police are treating this as suspicious. Again, they are appealing to the public. If you saw anything, please, if you know anything, they want to hear from you. Do not hesitate. Call 911 immediately. And as soon as we have more information on this, we will bring that to you. Right now, it is 6:09. Here's a question for you. Would you be willing to pay for Twitter? Coming up next, Mike Epple with details on the company's ideas for a subscription service. But what do we get?